Beautiful music. Right. Music is the most spiritual communication. In other words, music goes directly to your heart and your being. Whereas words, there's a lot of stuff that takes place in the exchange of the intellect. But music is a direct spiritual communication. So, with that said, how many people are here from another unity? Anyone? From another unity church? Anyone here for the first time? Raise your hand high. We have a gift for you. Ushers. Ushers. They're in the back talking. Look at them. Sound asleep. Okay, ushers. Ushers. You're not going to get a gift today. These people are so absorbed in some conversation back there. Okay. Anyway, your gift will be the upcoming talk Syntysche is going to give, because it's going to be beautiful. Enjoy it.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Boulder. All of you who are joining us here in-house and everyone who's watching online, thanks for spending some time with us. We love spending time with you. I've got a few announcements of upcoming events here at Unity of Boulder, and some are here and some are not. Today, our open source spirituality, that's our young adult group, is going to meet today at 12:30 in the bookstore, and then they are going to go on a very easy hike around Wonderland Lake. So if you are between the ages of 18 and 30 and would like to join that group, there's no sign up. You just join right up with them, right on in here. We've got a great group that has been meeting every other week, so definitely check out our open source group. Unity has a book. We are having some Unity book study groups start up here March 11th. The book we'll be doing will be Polishing the Mirror by Ram Dass. It's $85 for a 5-week book study. We are doing it in 2 groups that both start on the same night, at the same time, at the same price. One is a women's only group, and one is a co-ed group. And we will figure out which room which group goes in depending on the sizes of the groups as that gets formed. But that starts March 11th, Polishing the Mirror by Ram Dass. All right. I'm sure many of you have heard of Gaia. That is a production company right out here, a spiritual production company right in Louisville. It's right on South Boulder Road at the top of the hill when you're leaving Boulder. They do immersion conferences every few months, and there is one coming up. And they have partnered, they did this the last time, they have partnered with Unity of Boulder. There's posters for this out in the lobby explaining who all's speaking at this. If you decide to sign up for it, you can take one of the flyers. And you can use the QR code on the flyer. If you do buy tickets, make sure when it asks you to, you type in Unity 50 and you'll get $50 off each ticket. And Unity gets, and when you do that, Unity gets a kickback. So it's just kind of a great way that Gaia and Unity of Boulder are kind of working with each other. One of the main speakers that's going to be at that immersion process is Veda Austin, who's promoting her book, The Living Language of Water. If the conference, because the conference is 2 days, it's March 15th and 16th, if the conference is too long of an event, she's actually going to be speaking here in Fellowship Hall on Friday the 14th. So you can check that out at vedaustin.com and get tickets there. And finally, as you're leaving today, if you're a little hungry, stop in Fellowship Hall. Our YOU is having a bake sale, and they do these bake sales every now and then to raise funds for when they take trips or to go do fun activities, and that's our high school age congregation. So definitely go check out the bake sale following the service in Fellowship Hall. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is the point in our service where it's a call for prayer. We take into account our friends and family members that might need prayer right now. There's prayer sheets in front of you and the pews in front of you, and you're welcome to write their names down. You don't need to write what the problem is. You can just pray over it, put it out there. It's an energetic prayer. We know that we're connected in oneness, and so it's really just to put it out there and us aligning with the power that we have to send love and healing to whoever is needing it. But this is Steve Sheets. He's the head of our prayer team. He will come down and collect those sheets and put them in our prayer box where they'll be prayed over here for 30 days, and then they'll go on to Silent Unity, and they'll be prayed for another 30 days. We like to sing this song to come into the presence of this room and leave the world outside these doors and just recognize this next 50 minutes or so that's for us. May the long time sun shine upon So it is. We're going to invite our entertainment club up to sing with us, and we ask you to all sing with us as well. They say to sing is to pray twice. To sing, just you can't think about the trials or the tribulations of the world. We can be right in the presence of this Holy Spirit right here and now as we sing these beautiful, empowering words.
Deepest kind of love.
let's all stand and say, thank you, God, for this beautiful day. And turn and meet one another and get each other's names. Hi.
How are you today?
Thank you, God, for you. We've got about 4 dogs in the audience right now. We've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have 4 dogs today. And pat yourselves on the back and say, thank you, God, for me. And those of you with puppies in the audience, say, thank you, God, for your beautiful puppies, because I see all of them, and they're gorgeous.
All right, now I'd like to welcome today's guest musician to our stage. You all know Rebecca Abraxas. Welcome back, Rebecca. Just a reminder that Rebecca also every third Friday here at Unity of Boulder, down in our beautiful meditation room, does amazing sound experiences. Every third Friday this month, it's going to be on the 21st, so check that out. Get it, Rebecca.
Thanks, Mike. There's a futile voice inside who acts as your alibi when a dark, hard door, when a cold, dark morning comes and you're committed to your bed. Try to remember what your mama always said. There's more to you than what you see, a part who always rides your dreams. There's more to you than what you tell. A part is there when heaven meets hell. The day is at its end, and you've done all that you can. It's easier to forget and let the curses fill your head. But listen to the silence. This is what it's always said. There's more to you than what you see, a part who always rides your dreams. There's more to you than what you tell. A part is there when heaven meets hell. When the weight of the world makes you run, reach for your dreams. Now don't you be done when you feel your tears alone in your bed, alone in your bed, alone in your bed. There's more to you than what you see, a part who always rides your dreams. There's more to you than what you tell. A part is there when heaven meets hell. When heaven meets hell.
Thank you, Rebecca. Beautiful way to start. Perfection. So you might have read my ad, and the original title of this talk is, What If This Is Heaven? And then, I was working with it, and there's a part of me that is in this place where I want to rewild myself, get out of books. I'm working and going to school, and I'm just on a computer and studying constantly, and I can feel that wild original version of myself coming forth and finding that heaven and earth in the midst of my being. And so I'm kind of in this like duality on this sermon, but it will all come together. But the titles are just not matching anywhere. That one's not totally hitting, this one's not hitting. So, you know, sometimes we nail it and sometimes we don't. And that's part of the loving ourselves process, that perfection is not the goal, right? It's living that process, living the unfoldment as it unfolds. And sometimes we can't really narrow what the journey is about, but being in the midst of the journey and allowing it to be what it is the most comfortable and important thing to do. So what if we are already everything that we're trying to become? If life is about the journey and not the destination, could it be that this is heaven, this physical life we are living here on earth? What we experience in our daily lives often feels like anything but heaven. But if we understood how powerful we are, that we are powerful enough to mold both our internal and our external reality, it does require dismantling many cultural myths, stories we tell ourselves, stories that have been told to us, mistaken for indisputable truths, beliefs such as we get what we deserve, or loving ourselves is selfish. They're all ingrained within us from birth, pervasive and influential, leading to generations of misguidance. First, we discover the lies beneath the surface of what we were taught and what we absorbed. By freeing yourself from these falsehoods, we could leave fear, heartache, self-imposed boundaries behind and instead live lives full of purpose and joy. A lot of this was written by Anita Mirjani, who, if you're not familiar with her, is a really amazing author, but really it's her life experience that she's expanded from and is and as in this world, from a terminal illness with cancer, where she actually did get to the full point where she died. And while she was in that death space, while they were fighting on her body to get her to come back, which there was not much of a body to come back to, she was given this message that in order to be here, you have to love yourself. And that there are no coincidences, that everything is a divine interaction, intersection. Everything is of the divine. And when we start to let go of the stories and the internal issues that we tell ourselves on a day-to-day basis, which I talked about a lot last week, when we can let those stories go and stop examining why they happened and who did it, and start to examine what we learned from it. How did we become so much better because of it? You know, like if we have a difficult parent, did you overcome that and become the most amazing parent, right? Like you'll notice that those things took a course in you that drove you to be an amazing human being that overcame that situation. Yet there's still some subtle like vibration of lower energy that still has a life form within us, many of us. And I think many of us are coming up within that right now. We had that planet alignment yesterday that was absolutely about enlightenment and opening ourselves up into the new, that which is possible to create and be as that Christ potential in action. And yet whenever we have these big openings and we can kind of almost perceive that something's shifting, like energetically shifting. I can feel it this week. I feel a real sense of freeing, like blocks have been taken off of me, but I can't really quite see it because there's so much more being added unto me, but for some reason my soul feels a little freer within the denseness. But there's still this subtle something that's still coming up that has more healing to do. And I think that's just the way it is on the spiritual path, because every time we overcome and achieve the recognition and the rebirth into the new of what we were supposed to learn from all that, there's always more. And it doesn't have to be suffering, but there's always more to be revered, and there's always more to be revealed unto self. And it's always coming back to the true self, the original self, that perfect self that we were when we first entered this place. I just finished a series on TV. When I finally am done with all the studying and everything, I try to find shows that are calming and not stressful, you know. I don't watch the news, and, you know, I do watch TikTok a little bit, so I do keep up with some of the stuff that's going on, and it's never good, so I try to find these calming shows. And I found this one called Alone, based in Australia, on Netflix. Has anybody watched the series? Yeah, 2 of you, right. Okay, so, and it's just an amazing show. And I watched all the seasons. This one was a little bit easier because it was in Australia, so it wasn't like in the Arctic or like horrible, cold, freezing places. But it's still people with survival skills being left on a piece of like land, and they have to live off of the land. They have to build their shelter. They have to fish for their own food. They can't kill anything. They can kill things, but they have to do it with basic tools, not guns, not bow and arrows. And the journey of watching them go through it is, there's like a memory, like a feeling like you have that in you. Who has that feeling when you were watching it? Did you feel a sense that you could do it? Yeah, right? And yet we know we would have the same suffering of the process of the eliminating of all the distractions of life, right? You're literally left with self on an island somewhere deep in the woods. And you have to find how this spot is going to help you and feed you and shelter you. And they do great music, and the more the people like aren't figuring out their fishing or they're not figuring out stuff, and you're watching days and days and days of fasting, okay, days and days of fasting. And the more hungry the people get, the more profound they get. That's why I love the show, because all of a sudden they're just stripped of the human condition, the insights that come out of these people that don't even claim to be spiritual people. The insights that come out of them, you find yourself crying a lot, because what they're speaking from and as is what's within us, that we're seeking in ourselves, but we're trying to function in a world that just keeps piling on and piling on more and more responsibilities. We've got more plates spinning than you could possibly ever imagine. Now that we have so many ways to get things done faster with computers and internet and all of these things, so that we're doing so much more, like just running this church now than we did 10 years ago, because technology is all these things. So there's so many ways I'm pulled to do so many different other things about this work, and to find peace in the midst of that, because it's just a living distraction, living in a distraction of things to be done and to be accomplished, versus living in the moment. And what can we eliminate that could bring us closer to the truth of our being, to the vibration of the human heart beat? Let's just take a deep breath into that. Just with that heartbeat, moving at the pace of what was originally called to us. So there was this woman, and her name was Gina Chic, and she stood out to me, and I'm sure it was 2 women that watched this show, so I'm sure we were all rooting for her. There hasn't been a woman that's won it yet, and she just embodied nature. She embodied the divine feminine. She embodied compassion for nature in a way that was palpable. She was a profound human being that has vastly become somebody in this world, and probably had no idea the impact she's going to have for this planet and who she is. But one of the things she said that really just pulled me in right out the gate, she said, I have to die. I have to die to myself, and I have to emerge as this land, so that I can navigate and figure out how the land can take care of me. Those words were like a warm blanket on a cold day to me. You know, like to emerge into that which is being called of the moment. And it's not just about the fact that she's on a show where she has to be a survivalist, but everybody else was going to overcome the elements, to overcome how we get the food. It's a fight. whereas hers was an immersion into the energy of the land first. And she fasted on purpose for 2 whole weeks so that she could melt the old self off of her, so that the insights of that land could speak through her and to her of how to do it. On the 14th day or the 16th day, she woke up and said, I've got to start feeding this vessel. She walked out to this body of water. Her first cast, she gets a big fish. Nobody else did that happen to. Nobody. You saw the struggle and you feel for them. But it just shows so much how consciousness does dictate how we experience life. She wrote, and I loved what she wrote, and this is something, I started researching her afterwards because she actually, where she comes from, she holds rewilding retreats for women in Australia in natural land, where she gets the women prepared to get rid of all of the things that are in their way to be reborn into the new version of themselves, and they go on a 48-hour retreat on their own completely with only water and a tarp. And within just 48 hours, these women come back transformed. But one of the things she wrote, and I love this, she said, our culture tells us that we are alone, and it is not true. Because we are all those trees, and our roots connect. And when we remember that, then we remember who and what we really are, and that we actually have agency and power. We can reject the story that it's man versus wild. We can reject the story that nature can be dominated and the problem can be solved. We can approach the world with a caretaker's eye and a caretaker's heart, and we can remember that we are not alone. And she was saying that while she was alone. So when we contemplate the reality of that we are a root system, we are all the trees, we are all one. That's why at the beginning of our service, we collect names to pray over, but ultimately what we're doing is we're changing ourselves. We're never changing God. God is a consistent love. God is a consistent energy. It is always available in the same level at all times. Nothing takes it away from you. Nothing brings it to you more. It's how much are we accessible to it? How much are we open to being a part of that love energy, right? And so in our practice, it's affirmative prayer. The first thing is recognition. Affirmative prayer is the first part is recognition of this source, of this spirit, right? And then the next part is to merge the emergence with that identification, recognizing that there's the source and we become a part of. Then the next part is affirmation. Then we affirm what is being called within us that we are needing more of. Is it better health? Is it more joy? Is it more companionship? Is it we then affirm that into the universe so that we're in alignment. We're recognition, we're illumination, and now we're in alignment, and now we're saying what we need. And then we know it's in the universe's hands, and so then we surrender it. And we don't look upon it anymore because we already know it's out in the universe and it's already moving towards us. And then we find a state of gratitude for it already coming to us. Do you see? So there's no limitation. It's a fluid process, and it's a process that works. And it's based in the fundamentals and the principles of unity. So Gina also went on to talk about when there were times that she was struggling to get food, and she'd just kind of really be in a meditative state, hanging around her fire a lot. She did a lot of talking to us, speaking her experience into our world, that her life was not easy. Actually, in fact, her life was extremely painful, that got her to a point of the consciousness that we were witnessing on this Alone show. And one of the words I love that she said, when we are uncomfortable, we are paying attention. When we are uncomfortable, we are paying attention. And when we're talking about the stories that we tell ourselves last week and how do we dissolve them and finally reemerge as a new person and no longer allow them, that we can actually feel a shift, an actual physical shift in our beings, right? But it tends to be the difficult things that kind of push us through that one-way doorway into the new self. It's not usually because we're in a really high state of consciousness that we keep growing and growing. We get to a high state of consciousness, but we usually hit something that we were attached to, or a distress, or a loss, or something that broke us, that finally we realize we don't have the toolbox to address this problem we've had. And so we find ourselves in that swirling and that deeper place of interconnectedness and visiting, and we realize we have to grow in order to get to the new life, to access the tools to handle this thing that just happened out of nowhere. Are you following me here? So we are slowly given the tools that we originally had. Right? We always had them before. We had them when we were first born, but the tools were taken away from us as people said we weren't enough, as people made us feel less than, as people mirrored that we were not going to make anything of ourselves. Whatever the stories are that have hindered us from expressing on high. And usually we have to be in the melting pot of being with self and, unfortunately, our pain and the breaks, for us to be able to access that door where the tools are going to help us heal and grow to this next level. So is there a way to get back to your true self without going through it, without feeling every aspect of it, going through the difficulty of the death of the old self before the birth of the new? And last week people said that you didn't have to do that. And if that is the case, that's a very extraordinary lifetime. But more than not, this is actually the truth. You have to feel. You have to be able to feel everything. Because until we're comfortable with all of our feelings, all of our expressions, all of the things that make us who we are, that's the place where you are going to become Christ conscious, because then you can also be with other people that are in those painful places. You can also be a mirror to help people that are in those places. That's really the goal, is this community, this connection with one another, that you have visited your stuff in order to be able to lift others when they are going through something you've already overcome. So I want to play this video for you. It's just a little bit back on Gina Sheik and what she does to help people emerge.
There we go. Come on, baby. Come on. Thank you. It's always magic every single time. It just feels like a miracle every time a fire lights. I get this excited every time. Just get it going. Whack it in there. Yeah, whack it in there.
I've spent my whole life learning tools of connection,
and I love sharing what I've learned. I'm basically creating an environment where people can connect with wisdom that they already have, so that they can learn for themselves.
So let's have a quick chat about site selection.
Dirt Time is a rite of passage program for women to be able to go and sit on their own for 2 days and 2 nights in nature. There's nothing to read, there's nothing to write. There's water to drink, no food, and if it rains then there's a tub, and then that's it.
The vigil is very simply fasting from all things familiar. We take away so many of the things that we in our modern lives use as distraction and meet ourselves in that discomfort and stay there long enough to find out whatever it's teaching us.
So what she's saying is what we're doing when you're taking that 48 hours is to take away all the things that are numbing us towards that discomfort. And with all that is apparent, I'm not the only one that has 100 plates spinning, and I literally have to visit one at a time and put it back and do this to keep myself in a state of peace, not total peace, but I kind of have learned how to disassociate from all of them and address as is needed. But right now I could really use going there. Oh my God. Who wants to come with me? I know, right? Right? But eliminating all the things that are really distracting ourselves from ourselves. And I think this is a really wonderful goal for all of us right now when we have so much going on in the world, so much turmoil and discord, and because we are all one, even if you're watching the news or not, we can feel it in our vibrational beings, in our bodies. So it's kind of like an invitation to get back to the simpler things. It's an action we can actually take. Yesterday I turned off my phone and I went for a walk in that glorious sun. Oh my goodness. With my dogs, my husband and I don't even think we talked because we've had so much. We both turned our phones off and we were just being. And the high that took over my body, knowing the phone was not with me, and the fear, right? That sense that you're so needed in so many places, and that's a wonderful feeling. But it keeps you captive. It keeps you from peace. It keeps you from fluidity. It keeps you from living and loving and the beauty of this life, right? And by the end of that walk, it was just like I had energy. I had energy I haven't had. I've kind of just been always kind of just dragging through it all because it's just all so much. But that sunshine and my dogs and the smile and the feeling like, oh my God, spring is coming. I mean, it's not here yet, but I mean, it felt like it yesterday, and it does a little bit today. I feel inspired by Gina. And I kept thinking about her. I just studied her stuff because I think I see myself in her. And I think I'm cutting myself off at the knees a little bit with all that I'm taking on with all this, when I'd rather be immersed with you guys having experiences like that. That's really the future of this center for me. That's what I feel called to, And so after this talk, I was going to talk, whoever wants to join, we're going to have a rap session about how we do that at some point. We had talked about that 2 weeks ago, that we were going to do that rap session this Sunday, and we're still going to do that. So I've discovered that the women that have touched my heart directly are women that have faced their own fragility, have braved the unbravable, and have visited their own pain. It reminded me of this poem that I'm sure you all loved a long time ago. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals, or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. Gina was not your average young woman growing up. She was an outcast, bullied by her eccentric love of nature and her need to mend the little bodies of broken birds, squirrels, and wildlife. She was known in grade school for showing up with little animals in her pocket, where she crushed seeds in her mouth and let the injured animals eat it out of her mouth. She was unique, and says in her own words that if she had been tested, she believed she would have been on the spectrum. And she believes that's her superpower. But because of all the ways she lived outside of the norms of what is expected in this world, she learned to be immersed in the natural world that seeked her out for help, and she found her life's purpose from that. So the very hardship of being rejected and neglected by people and not fitting in any way, shape, or form anywhere became the very purpose of her life. That's so, let's take that in, because the thing that's been adversely something in your life has a tool in there. It has a purpose. It has a calling in it. That's why things will reappear. and keep reappearing, and they don't seem to be getting, resolved. And the truth is it's reappearing because you haven't learned what it is that's within that is the divine calling for you. Unfortunately, Gina also, when she was 40 years old, had her first and only child, which she had never planned on having children, so she saw that as a big miracle for her, a little girl, which she felt was a miracle, and states that she was her best friend. She was the first best friend of her life. And unfortunately, her daughter died of an illness at 3 years old. And this is what she wrote about that. I've howled and I've wailed and I've screamed at the sky to give her back. And I've done whatever it is that grief has demanded of me, which has meant that I have had to let her go and let her go and let her go over and over again. I am so much more of a human because of her and because of losing her. I'm not afraid of a single feeling that will turn up in me or in anyone else. That's all her gift moving through me in the world. Let's just go back to this part right here. Because of her and because of losing her, I'm not afraid of a single feeling. That is my truth. That's what I got also when I lost my son. I am not afraid of my emotions anymore. I am not afraid of any single feeling within me, and I am not afraid of any single feeling within you, because I have howled, and I have wailed, and I know what that is. But she articulated it so beautifully. That's the thing. It's like to be mirrored by someone that is better and more expressed. I get to be better and more expressed because I'm learning from her. The levels and the depth of how hard stuff is and how powerful it is if we embody what it's teaching us. And again, here's the poem referring to that. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. And I love this saying, enjoy what you have to enjoy, suffer what you have to suffer. Even saints and sages have to suffer. So when we were saying, do we have to go through it to have this emergence or this revelation? And in my experience, it's a yes. Unless you don't want to quite go there. Because when you go there into these depths, when we also aren't afraid of any emotion at all, and we're not afraid of any emotion over here, did you know that the depth of the suffering you faced here also now has the height of the joy up here? You can only get the joy to the measure you're visiting. So when you've been here, and don't get stuck here. A lot of people get stuck here, and that's the shriveling up and not expanding from it. Down here is now the lifting into the joy and the expandedness of how spectacular this life is with all of its vastness, all of its opposing sides. We are the ones that call it bad to suffer. We are the ones that call it good to have joy. But what if it is wonderful? Have you ever, if you've ever lost a child, I talked to a woman this week. She said, I felt so connected to God when I lost my son. I was so in that state. I was so hyper sensitive and intuitive and connected and held by grace. And we have that. And so a part of us want to go back to feel that palpitation of God moving through us. I had that too, and I do too. And right now I'm in this second coming without the loss of the child, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's all the Bible study I'm doing, but I feel so deeply connected to God right now in a palpable way where I'm like, I can't wait to see what's next. It's like this excitement, this feeling, because the grace is just everywhere. And it might be because of the hardship of the world right now, and we're being asked to come into this connection so we can feel this bubble of grace and love of God that's saying, I got you still. Your good hasn't left you. What if we all came here for exactly what's happening right now? Who would you be? How would you be? We're here as adversaries of God, Spirit, Source. I don't care what you call Spirit. Spirit doesn't care because it's an energy. And when we merge with this beautiful energy where we're not fearful of change and we're not fearful of adapting and we're not fearful of being divine expression in everything, then we'll be used. We will be used. And talk about feeling the presence of the living God within us when we're put into positions to help others that are overcoming things that you've already done. And again, but this was saying you sit with it and you don't try to change their pain, but you hold a space of love that you might have not had while you were going through it. So I want to play this song, and it's Marcy Baruch. We haven't had her in a while, and I think we've all missed her, and I think we should just all sing it together. It's just an incredibly beautiful song. We'll just sing together. You can hum it, and I'll sing with you. And here we go.
Are walking each other home, drawn by the pool of love. We are walking each other home, drawn by the pool of love. We are walking each other home, drawn by the pool of love. We are walking each other home, drawn by the pool of love. And love is the magnetizing power. Love is the harmonizing power. Love is the unifying power as we walk each other home. Here we go. We are walking each other home, drawn by the pool of love.
My mom and my daughter to come here soon.
We are walking each other home, drawn by the pool of love. We are walking each other home, drawn by the pool of love. Oh yeah, we are walking each other home, drawn by the pool of love. And love is the magnetizing power. Love is the harmonizing power. Love is the unifying power as we walk each other home.
Thank you, you guys.
We
And we'll sing that instead of Let There Be Peace on Earth at the end of the service, but that completes my service, and I thank you for coming today.
When Syntysche talks about this woman on this show being reduced to the basic element of herself, everything else, all the comforts, all the excuses, all the rationalizations, all gone. She doesn't remember. This is exactly what our camping trips were like. And I think we got a lot out of it, those camping trips, because we'd go in August to the hottest places in the country. And, but we only went there because there were no tourists. Nobody in their right mind would go to those places. And quite often, we had some really phenomenal experiences because we were reduced to the basic elements of just feeling the presence and the majesty of being alive. Okay, you guys are going to take the offering? All right. Don't miss anybody. I'm getting ready now. I'm going to get them ready. They're going to put their offering in their hands, and they're going to give it to you. All right? Don't take any of the big bills out for yourself. Okay. Hold on. All right. So we can all bring into our hands, into our hearts, that gift we'd like to make to Unity of Boulder, to keep Unity of Boulder sharing the truths that inspire us to look deeper into what life is really all about. That's what we're doing here, and it's a beautiful experience to do that. So now we bring these gifts into our hands, into our hearts, and let's bless them with this offering prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And so it is. Go for it. Once again.
See if my voice wants to come back. I'm in my head, and I don't like it anymore. Lately all I do is keep the score. What would it take to lose my mind? Take a breath, fly blind. I'm letting go, flying through the sky with a brand new wings and a heart that sings. I'm going out of my mind, erasing all the lines. There's a whole lot of me that wants to be free. My thoughts have taken too much of my space. Can't look in the mirror, my unfamiliar face. Too many years have been heavy to me. I could use some room to breathe. What would it take to play again, where the good times they never come to an end? Bliss is me instead of a great escape. My eyes open wide and awake. I'm letting go, flying through the sky with a brand new wings and a heart that sings. I'm going out of my mind, erasing all the lines. There's a whole lot of me that wants to be free. I'm following the white rabbit right down his hole, giving up, always being in control, where everything old is new again. What else is possible, my friend? I'm letting go. Flying through the sky with a brand new wings and a heart that sings. I'm going out of my mind, erasing all the lines. There's a whole lot of me that wants to be free.
Thank you, Rebecca. Beautiful music today. Really appreciate you. All right, so we have an open source group starting at, oh, did you want to say something? Let me say something?
I said we love you, we all.
That's sweet, yeah. We have the open source group going on a easy hike today at Wonderland Lake. Everybody's meeting at the conference room in the bookstore. It's for ages over 18 and under 30. So you can join over there. This group's been meeting now for about a month and a half, and it's just really doing well. So if you'd like to find a nice spiritual young adults group, this is a great way to have an outlet to have these deep conversations we're all having here together. All right, we have fellowship right now, and we have
Prayer partners.
And we have prayer partners available if you're facing a challenge. They will come and find you in the sanctuary if you just stay seated at the completion of this service, and they will pray with you. And then I will have a discussion group right after the service where these back tables are. We're just going to have a wrap session around the talk, what's on your heart, some visioning stuff, and just having fun together. All right, we're going to all rise, and we're going to sing together the song I just played.
Good.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
let's do it. And those of us that can hold hands, yeah, you know what, I think we have enough. Let's circle the pews. We have enough. Let's get in a circle here. And make sure there's a couple people between you and your dogs so the dogs all are happy. We're turning into a human and canine church. What's coming next? All right, you can start the recording, Josh.
We are walking each other home, drawn by the pull of love. We are walking each other home, drawn by the pull of
All right, and we're just going to let that bask in us and take that with us. And I'll see you in the discussion group, or we'll see you at the book group, and we'll see you in the fellowship hall. We love you, we bless you, and we truly appreciate you. Thank you for coming today. Amen.